Good evening, welcome to tonight's Hearthstone Half Hour. I'm Hammy, this is FailCraft Casts. Hope you're oh so well this Tuesday evening. We've had the Hearthstone Curse of Naxxramas pricing just announced. We've gone through that. Check out that video if you've not seen it, it's on YouTube. But tonight is all about Hunter. You guys have voted on Twitter and you've decided that we're playing Hunter. Hunter makes, I believe, its first step into one of our Pick Your Own arenas. So I'm not entirely sure whether it's the Yarg Squared edition. I think I may have forgotten to remove some copy, but let's jump straight in and get picking. So for those of you who have not done this before, we shout out the cards, we talk about what is going on. You have picked Hunter, so Hunter is our choice. We will describe the cards, type them in the chat, and as we get going, you guys need to type away and let us know. If you're watching this on an archive, tune in at twitch.tv/FailCraftCast, and you can join us on Tuesday and put me through arena pain in terms of what crazy deck you're going to start drafting. First card, we have an Angry Chicken, we have a Bloodsail Corsair, and we have a Knife Juggler. So the Angry Chicken, if you find some way of buffing that thing's health, then suddenly you have an enraged and slightly dangerous chicken on your hands. We then have the Bloodsail Corsair. So remove a durability from your opponent's weapon. Good in pirate decks if you play a weapon deck with some use, but then the ability has a low 1 attack and 2 health. And then Knife Juggler, that oh so solid option of, it's all about Knife Juggler. If we're swarming, then the Knife Juggler will let us drop extra chip damage. It does 1 damage anytime we summon a minion. So next we have a Silverhand Knight, we have a Cult Master, we have a Houndmaster too. So really, really nice. The Silverhand Knight, he's a twofer. If you watch 30 Rock, I've come into that. Me and my wife have been watching that recently. He's a 2-for-1 in terms of every time you throw him down, you just get another minion. Always, always handy. The Cult Master, whenever one of your minions dies, draw a card. Low health, but if we can get some minions dying, then suddenly we have draw power, so that's quite handy. And then the Houndmaster, very, very nice hunter card. Battle Cry gives a friendly beast 2/2 and taunt. Some very, very nice buffing ability there. Houndmaster, Hound, oh, Gruel, the scars. The scars. Everyone's saying Illidan. I know that we don't have Illidan, so hang on. Let me read up. We've got 3 votes for Hound, and then Zano being the cat amongst the pigeons is going for 90. Right, the Hound it is. We can tank things up and go very nicely. So next we have the Mogushan Warden, we have the Acidic Swamp Ooze, and then the Kill Command. So what have we got here? We've got a very high health tank, the Mogushan Warden. For 4 mana, you're just getting a big wall. He'll be hard to remove. He'll suck up some removal. So he gets in the way. He will help you set up. I'm going to go for Kill Command. Our hero has arrived. Your hero, your king. So Kill Command is a very nice hunter card that I'm not sure why I'm reading through, because I know where this is going to go through. So if you drop beasts, and hunters have lots of beasts, for those of you who are not worshippers of the ooze, you can deal 5 instead. So a great piece of removal, but this is FailCraft Casts. We know what you want. Our king, our champion, initially saw in a priest Pick Your Own arena deck where we buffed his health high and he slayed everything that fell before him. The Acidic Swamp Ooze is your choice. Oh, there is no logic. It is what you want. Next. So, hey, we might play weapons decks, and then we know that Ooze will ride again. We could even buff him with Houndmaster, and he could become a tanking, more powerful Ooze. Abusive Sergeant, Ooze or Riot. Abusive Sergeant, Dark Iron Dwarf, or Deadly Shot. So, Abusive Sergeant are great in aggro early game decks. It gives you that 2 attack for 1 turn. You're going to throw him down, buff a minion, do more damage. You get nice, cheap trades. Dark Iron Dwarf, do you know what? Exactly the same, but a later game card. So for a mid game, you get that same 2 attack for 1 turn, but then you also get 4 attack and 4 health for the 4 mana. So a bigger body on the table that can then perhaps do some trading. And then finally, we have Deadly Shot. Deadly Shot, destroy a random minion. You can only buff beasts with Houndmaster, says Cericide. It was a good job. You folks are here to keep me straight. What do I know? So Deadly Shot, Abusive Sergeant or Houndmaster. Much deadly, many shots. Zano is going for the Dojimi. Well articulated, sir. We like your style. Deadly Shot, Dark Iron Dwarf, and 2 Deadly Shots. So if you guys aren't going to, no one else jumping in with any kind of votes, welcome to those of you who just joined us. Folks voted for Hunter on Twitter for our arena tonight, and now we're picking the cards. So if you're not signed in to Twitch, and I see there are a few of you there, you should absolutely get a free Twitch account, sign in, and spam the chat with what you want to vote for cards. Ooh, okay, well, 2 votes for Deadly Shot, so the democracy, 3 votes for Deadly Shot, so the democracy has come through, so it's you say we obey. It's only if it is a tie in votes that I will jump in and actually make my decision. Sometimes I go for the sensible one, sometimes I go for the nuts one. Arcane Shot, Hunter, 1 mana, 2 damage, picking off the minions, chipping things down, all good. Next we have a kill command. We've already gone through, and then Nightblade, deal 3 damage to enemy hero for 5 mana up. It's all about kill command because there is no ooze. Everyone's gone for the practical option. Good on you guys. You are giving us a fighting chance. So next up we have the Stormwind Champion, War Golem or Ogre Magi. Stormwind Champion, if we get to the late game, giving all of our other minions 1/1. Will certainly mean that everything on the table is stronger, and you know what, 6 attack, 6 health, it's pretty solid. War Golem, there is nothing to say about it apart from the fact that it's 7/7/7. You can throw that down in the late game and hopefully do some damage. The Ogre Magi, we are not really a spellcasting deck, but of course remember that we do have things like Arcane Shot, other things that could possibly benefit. But champion is a vote. So champion it is. Next we have the Explosive Trap, the Bloodfen Raptor, and the War Golem again. So we've done War Golem. Bloodfen Raptor, it is just a really solid 2/3/2. It's a basic card for you free-to-play players out there. You can throw that down as a beast. It can trigger all of the Hunter beast things that they do. Unleash the Hounds. You can buff it with Houndmaster, as Cersei rightly said. And you know what? If you do nothing else with it, it will just trade for something or do some decent damage. It's a threat that your opponent's got to deal with. Very mana efficient. And then Explosive Trap, great. Throwing down as a secret, it helps you defend against rushes. It will chip away against other big minions that your opponent may throw down as well. It's all about the traps. So next up we have Hunter's Mark. We have the Stone Tusk War. Oh wait, mine changed. Oh, how many? Well, we had 3 traps to 2 raptors. So there was just a slight outvote there anyway. Hunter's Mark, Stone Tusk War, and Spiteful Smith. So the Hunter's Mark, very, very good in terms of removal. That will let us get a big minion to tiny health and then pick it off with something tiny and insignificant. So very tasty. The Stone Tusk War, it is a beast. It is a token charging removal minion. Maybe it will get 2 damage in if you're lucky. Mark and Boar, that would be good. They would combo very nicely together. However, we can't pick 2 from the same draw. So Spiteful Smith, it will buff a weapon if we get it, and it's a nice big body on the table anyway. Do not underestimate something with 6 health and 4 mana. That, even in non-weapons decks, has been a bane of my life in many arenas. But you've all gone for Mark, so Mark it is. Next, the Tauren Warrior, Animal Companion, and the Gurubashi Berserker. Tauren Warrior, he is just a solid tank. That is all we can really talk about. For his mana, he is pretty good. He can enrage to be a 5 attack, 2 health when he takes some damage. Animal Companion, Gurubashi Berserker. Animal Companion just gets beasts. You can generally get beasts, and beasts are pretty much good. It seems like the votes are with the Companion. The Berserker is good. If you can drop some damage on him, he can get very angry really quick, but everyone's gone for Companion, so Companion it is. Loving your pace, guys. Moving very quickly this evening. Ooh, and we have a legendary draft now. Legends. So we have Alexstrasza. We have Hogger and Deathwing. I know what someone in the chat is going to vote for. So Alexstrasza, okay. You generally see in control big late game decks to reduce that health, or you can also heal up your own health as well. So remember that battle cry is not just for reducing your opponent's health, but otherwise it's 8/8, like Shane Warne in the 888 poker adverts over in the UK. I don't know if he does them in the Australia or anywhere else. Hogger. Hogger, at the end of your turn, summon a 2/2 null with taunts. Now, if you can't remove Hogger, is Hogger a beast? Do you know what? I don't think he is. It's a very, very good point. It's not defined on the bottom of his card, so I'm guessing he's not, but that would be really interesting, because of course we could trigger all kinds of hunter effects with him, so I'm guessing the answer is no. But all of those 2/2 nulls that he summons, if they can't remove Hogger quick, the board is full with really, really annoying nulls, and it doesn't stop until they remove Hogger. Last but not least, Deathwing. Destroy all other minions, discard your hand. But hey, Deathwing is 12/12, so unless they can remove Deathwing in the late game, he is a win condition. So we've got 1 for Deathwing. Hey, we've got 3 votes for Deathwing. Deathwing is best. Okay, Deathwing it is. You guys have your legendary. And we are now at 10, so I'm going to give you the next, and I'm just going to do the quick summary that we always do of if people are new, if it's the first time they've tuned into one of these, or if they're drafting Arena. So we just do the little bit of how we generally in an ideal world go about drafting Arena and how it goes. So what we always try and do in Arena is review our deck at regular points. So 3 simple tips for a new player. We're not saying this is an expert Arena treatment, but 3 simple tips. 1, review your deck at regular points. So 10 cards, we take a look at our deck. Maybe say 20 cards, or 10 cards, 17 cards, and 24 cards. Just take 3 looks at your deck after you've pulled a few cards to have a look at what's in it. Number 2 tip is have a look at the mana curve to see what kind of deck you're making. Is it early game, mid game, late game? Is it balanced? Just to give you some kind of idea before you look at your cards in more detail of what kind of strategy you might want to be employing. So there you go, have a look at your mana curve. Do you have lots in the early game? It might be a rush deck. Have you got lots in the late game? Maybe you're going for a control deck. If it's split over everything, it's probably tempo or similar. So you just need to understand a little bit of where you're going to be putting your focus in the game. And then tip number 3, go through your cards, split up how many spells to how many minions you have, and then see what they're doing and try and work out as you play through your mana curve what you're going to be trying to do. That will then help you try and get some kind of strategy. Now if you have a strategy, the next time you review your deck you can see, have you drafted cards towards that? Is that strategy working? Is it not working? And make sure that you have a theme as you're going through your draft. So here's an example. I review after 10 cards, I see I've got a lot in the early game, I think, oh, I'm going to try Rush. I then have a look at my thing and see that I've got a lot of minions in the early game. Okay, that's a good Rush. And then I can then look through and have a look at spells, have a look at minions, and try and pick spells and minions as I go through my next bunch of cards that will help me move towards that Rush theme. So as a quick summary, we have a pretty even mana spread at 10 cards. At the moment in the early game I can play Hunter's Mark to remove minions whenever I want. The Explosive Trap will probably drop later in the game unless I'm playing a rush deck with the Acidic, Swamp Ooze, Knife Juggler and an Animal Companion. At the moment I've got some reasonable early game minion pressure. Deadly Shot will help me remove a big ugly minion if I play it correctly. Kill Command is some good direct damage or removal. The Handmaster can help me buff, and late in the game at the moment I've got Stormwind Champion and Deathwing. So he will be good if I have more minions on the table. Deathwing will help me just clear and start again. So at the moment we don't really have any rush or firm deck shape there, so let's take another look after 17-18 cards and see if that's got any closer. So we could make any kind of deck at this point. Your vote, you've got 2 votes for Wolf, we've got 1 for Lord, we've got 1, 2, 3, oh no, we've changed to, no, we've got 3 for Loot Hoarder, so Loot Hoarder is it. Good choice. Early game damage, draws a card, nothing wrong with the Loot Hoarder. So next we've got, I know what you're going to be voting for now. We have the King in our deck. The Prince has just been announced. So Demolisher, he does what he does. He throws out that 2 damage with that 4 health. He's slightly awkward in terms of getting him off the table. A bit hard to destroy. Blood Cell Corsair we've already seen, so nothing to really talk about there. And then the Mind Control tech can be nice if your opponent throws down a lot of minions. That is a tempo changing card. So we can nick one of the minions. It could be a terrible minion, it could be an amazing minion, we just don't know. But either way, we can grab something and hopefully swing the tempo against in a different way. So we have 1 vote for Mind Control Tech, we have another vote for Demolisher. Let's see what you guys are going for otherwise. Okay, to keep things moving, we are going to, there's a direct split straight down the middle. Oh, Mind Control Tech, the Fresh Prince of Hearthstone. Demolisher is the Fresh Prince. Okay, he has been dubbed. The vote went with Mind Control Tech, but the Fresh Prince shall be the Demolisher's nickname. Next we have a Jungle Panther. We have another Explosive Trap and a Starving Buzzard. So Jungle Panther, stealths 1 turn, does 4 damage the next, unless your opponent throws down an area of effect damage spell. So something like Holy Nova will remove a Jungle Panther even through stealth. Worth remembering. Explosive Trap, anything that is not directly targeting that minion but doing damage to minions will do damage to it. So the Explosive Trap we've covered. Lots of uses for it. And then the Buzzard. The Buzzard, a core ingredient of Hunter decks. We've got multiple votes for the Buzzard. Yep, there we go. Whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. We want, if we get Unleash the Hands, we are laughing. Next, Timberwolf, Jungle Panther, and the Frostwolf Warlord. So Frostwolf Warlord, that, like the Stormwind Champion buffs all the other minions. Frostful Faller buffs himself for every other minion on the battlefield. So if we've got a lot of minions down, he's suddenly a big tanking, hulking force. Jungle Panther we've covered. The Timberwolf gives other beasts one attack. Used in a lot of hunter decks, as well as with Unleash the Hounds, anything that throws a whole bunch of beasts on the table. Hunters like beasts. Beasts trigger lots of hunter abilities. Lots of happy days to be had there. Ooh, Timber my wolf. Justin Timberwolf. That's what I think he is. Also good for Unleash. So a few votes for Timber. One person jumping in with the Panther. But I think we're going to go with a bit of Wolfage. Wolfage it is. Let's keep things moving. Next, we've got the Silverhand Knight, who we have already covered, the Voodoo Doctor, and Deadly Shot. My touch typing is pulling up all kinds of funny typings in the chat. I do apologise. So we've covered the Silverhand Knight, 2 for 1, bodies on the table, firm damage, Voodoo Doctor, turn 1, restore health if you need, and then might get some chip damage, and then thirdly, Deadly Shot, which we've also covered. Destroys that random enemy minion, nice control, and it's worth sort of talking about Deadly Shot. Naturally, it's most effective if you can whittle your opponent down to their most dangerous minion, being the only minion. Then when you throw down Deadly Shot, the random minion is the only minion left on the table. So if they've got Ragnaros and a 1/1 minion on the table, I'm going to kill the 1/1 minion and then throw down Deadly Shot, which gives me mana efficient removal of that big, horrible minion. What are you guys going for? Mighty Mirage, welcome. Hello, Oppie Fox. It is good to see you back. Not seen you in a while. Big hello to all of you guys joining in the stream. Yep, Silverhand Knight has been voted for. Silverhand Knight is next. Would you like an animal companion, an explosive trap, or an iron fur grizzly stew? We'll cover the one we haven't covered. The iron fur grizzly is just a really solid card for his mana cost. You get 3 attack, 3 health, you get a taunt. Costs 3 mana. There is not huge amounts to say about him. He does a good job, and because we're playing Hunter, he is also a beast, so that can trigger all kinds of beastie goodness that we have in our deck. Explosive Trap's not bad, and the Animal Companion. Remember, he can throw out that 2/4 Leok, I believe it's called, so he can throw out a tank, Misha the Bear, I believe it is. You can throw out Leok, which is a 2 attack for health, but also buffs other things on the table for you, buffs other beasts, and then can also throw out the pig, whose name I forget, but he is 4 attack, 2 health, and charge. So for 3 mana, you generally get quite a good card. What do you fancy from those? We have a vote for the trap. Lots of people sharing lots of videos, which is also awesome. A vote for companion, 2 for companion. Any other votes? Typing away. The countdown clock is ticking. It is going to be companion then. Let us keep on going. So next we have Windfury Harpy. We have the Scavenging Hyena and the Houndmaster. Windfury Harpy, you, for that 6 mana, throw down a card that can then start swinging twice after it's got through its summoning sickness. So turn 1 you play out like any other card, it does an out unless it has charge. Turn 2 you're dealing 8 damage, of course, because Windfury means you can swing twice. So higher mana, but you get that choice. Scavenging Hyena, whenever a friendly beast dies you gain 2/1, so we have beasts, that could work nicely. And then the Houndmaster as well, which we've already covered also. Scavenging Hyena can be very nice when your beasts die, that can become a big threatening card. And then the Houndmaster, a fairly solid body card on the table, and then the +2/2 and taunt can be also nasty. So, ooh, we have sort of split. Some say Hyena, others say Houndmaster. Type away with your votes. We need Unleash the Doge. We do need to Unleash the Hounds. That would be incredibly handy. Hunter deck shaping up very well, actually, I think, so far. Good job, guys. Okie dokie. So, as we wait for any more sort of thoughts and votes and bits and bobs going on, I think now's a good time for a deck review. So, we now see that we've now got a lot more in the early game from when we were at 10 cards. When we look through our mana curve, we have still got that nice early game minion pressure. We've then picked up a Starving Buzzard and a couple of animal companions, so we can summon beasts, draw cards. Cheaper beasts, we've got that Timberwolf, which would be good. The animal companions can also help, but we will have some card draw off the back of that buzzards because we can now play more beasts, which is excellent. Deadly shot and kill command, control or damage to the hero. A mind control tech can turn the tempo against aggro with the explosive trap, the Houndmaster, and in the mid game we're starting to beef up a bit there, but we still don't have loads of stuff. I believe we have a, let's say, okay, 2 people have gone for Hyena, so Hyena that fits nicely with our theme. So next, let's get the Senjin Shieldmaster, the Abusive Sergeant, and the Hunter's Mark. So we've covered the Sergeant, we've covered the Hunter's Mark, the Senjin Shieldmaster, just a really strong basic card, taunting tank. So that is very, very nice. So he, for 3 mana and 5 health, is oh so solid. Votes for Shieldmaster, other bits and bobs going on. What did you guys fancy? Senjin is the call, so that will give us a bit of mid-game extra tempo and advantage. So Guguashi Berserker is next, then a youthful Brewmaster. Oh, my typing has just gone there totally. And the Timberwolf. Guguashi Berserker. He's nice, but if you have him against like an aggro deck, then or anything like that, or if you're playing with something that allows you to do damage to your own minions, he suddenly becomes oh so nasty. You can suddenly have like an 8 kind of 5 card and ridiculous things like that. The Brewmaster we've not covered, so let's take a look at Brewmaster. Return a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand. There's something with loads of damage on it, you can pick it back up. If there's something that has a battle cry, you can pick it back up and then throw it back down again. I do like Justin Timberwolf. I feel that he is our another one of our heroes. It's a split, a 50-50. The Timberwolf has just turned out. So Justin Timberwolf will let us trigger Starving Buzzard as well. You know, whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. The more cheap beasts you can throw down after that buzzard, the more benefit you get. And naturally, Unleash the Hounds, of course, is the best option with all of that kind of stuff. So, very nice. Let's keep it coming. Ooh, next, okay, some nice rares there. We have the Savannah Highmane, we have Flare, and the Eagle Horn Bow. Now, do you know what? That's 3 hunter rares, all of which are pretty handy, and none of which have come up in this draft. Let's go through them. The Savannah Highmane is a 3/1. When it dies, and for 6/5, for 6 mana, it is not so bad in its stats, 6 attack, 5 health. Then the Death Rattle summons 2/2/2 hyenas, and then those also Simba. Simba. Who calls him Simba? The king has returned. Flare, all minions yourself, destroy secrets, draw a card, so you know what, for 1 mana, lots of utility. And then the Eagle Horn Bow, you have secrets that you play with as Hunter, and the Eagle Horn Bow, when those secrets trigger, your Eagle Horn Bow will let you swing and Scar. Yeah, I think he is probably Scar. Okay. Good. I like this nickname, Simba. Or maybe he's Scar. But he's such a solid card that we really can't ignore him, so I'm glad that you guys have voted for him. We have a Shadowstone Cleric, a Dragon Mechanic, and an Ogre Magi. So what do we have here? Shadowstone Cleric is a great buffing card that you can see. He helps aggro anytime you throw her down, actually, should I say, in the game. That 1/1 will make little minions that bit bigger and help you do better trades. That 1/1, it won't cause the end of the world, but what it will do is let you power up minions to the extent that you will be able to trade away your cheaper minions for the opponent's more expensive ones. So this is pretty handy in a lot of different ways. You'll see it in zoo, rush decks, that kind of thing. Next up, Dragon Mechanic. 2/1, so 2/1 again. You get the 2/1 mechanical Dragonling. Not quite as strong in terms of attack, but it's a body for the 2 attack and 4 health that would perhaps trade well against aggro. And the Ogre Magi. But you guys have gone for Cleric, so Cleric it is. Do you know what? This is a very strong hunter draft we're getting, actually. Lots of good cards and options for you guys to choose. And this is excellent. So Deadly Shot we've already gone through. Storm and Champion, we've got one in our deck and we've already gone through. And then last but not least, the Ironbeak Owl. So the Ironbeak Owl we've not seen, we'll just quickly cover it for you. That silence, get rid of nasty abilities, get rid of nasty tanks, debuff minions that have been buffed up to the 9s for 2 mana, and it's also a beast which works really well with our deck as well. So the Ironbeak Owl is awesome in many different ways. Far be it from me to influence your picking, but he's a pretty good pick. Votes are for owl. Let's keep things moving with an owl. So next, I have no idea what you guys are sharing in the chat. I'm not entirely sure. I want to know. It sounds like some kind of crazy Hearthstone video. So next we have the Hyena, the Stormwind Champion, and the Arcane Shot. We've had all three of these cards before. So the Hyena, we've already got one of those. Another could be good. Stormwind Champion, if we're going later game, we've already got one of those. Another could be good. And we don't have an Arcane Shot, but it will let us go for a bit of control. Pick something nasty off in some way or another. So for that reason, it could be pretty handy. So we have one for Shot, a few for Hyena. Oh, the Hyenas are rolling on in. Hyena it is. So let's keep it coming. We're almost there, and then what we can do is jump in and see what this deck is going to do. Do you know what? I always say this every week, no matter what you guys throw at us. I'm feeling pretty good about this deck. It's feeling as though we've got a strong theme. So as we get to 23 out of 30, while you guys just take a look, we're going to do our final deck review. So this is the third time we reviewed. We reviewed at 10, 16, 17, now we're reviewing at 23. We can see now we've gone to more of a rush early game deck, so we're going to be pushing hard in the early game with whatever cards we have in terms of that mana curve. Let's jump on in, having reviewed the mana curve. Let's have a review of how many spells against how many minions we have. We have one spell there, two spells there. Okay, 3 spells, 4 spells. 4 spells. So 4 spells, 19 minions. So we're going to be pushing very hard with that early game mana curve with minions by the looks of things. And then let's take a look as we go through the mana curve. What are we playing at what stage, and how does that affect our strategy? Early game, lower mana, Hunter's Mark can be played whenever for a trade. 2 Timberwolves, they can be played after our Buzzard to draw cards, or we can use them to buff our beasts whenever we like. An Explosive Trap will help us against aggro. In the early game, we can throw down Ooze. If we want to, we can throw down Owl. We can destroy weapons. We can silence various minions. We've got good attacking bodies on the table. Throw them down after the Juggler. We can start doing chip damage. Loot Hoarder will let us draw cards. 2 Hyenas, actually. So throwing those down and sacrificing our beasts. Ideally, throw those down after we've got more beasts on the table to suddenly get some very powered up, nasty cards very quickly. Buzzard will let us draw cards. We only want to play that when we can play cheap beasts after it. 2 Animal Companions as well. Even more beasts on the table. Could be tanks, charges, buffers, all kinds of things. Deadly Shot for situational use against big nasty minions. More control in the form of Kill Command, but that could also be an attack to the face. The Mind Control tech we will throw down as a body, or if we are playing aggro. Buffs with a Cleric, buffs with a Houndmaster and a solid body, a tank with a Sealed Master to maybe take away tempo from aggro, or just a big body we can attack with. Silverhand Knight gives us a 2-for-1. Scar himself will help us seize advantage in the sort of mid-game if we haven't got the board under control already, and if we're really in the late game, then we should have a lot of minions on the table by then for the Stormwind Champion and Deathwing. So I think we are rushing, but we've got late game backup. Pretty simple. Let the Murlocs rise, and 2 votes for Archer. Archer gets the nod. Next we have the Murloc Tidehunter. Kill Command again, and the Mad Bomber. Okay, so the Murloc Tidehunter 2-for-1. I know you guys love your Murlocs if you're regulars on the Hearthstone half hour, but he's a 2-for-1 and a solid 2-for-1 with the early game. Kill Command we've already got, and will let us put loads of damage on. And then the Mad Bomber, who will let us do 3 damage randomly between all our characters, a favourite son of many people in draft. We have 1 Kill Command. We have, oh no, we've got 2 for Kill Command. A very practical choice. There will always be more Murlocs. Any FailCraft Hearthstone pick your own arena deck without a Murloc and an Ooze almost feels as though it's not an arena deck, or not our arena deck anyway. So we have Draggling Mechanic, Earthen Ring Farseer, and Dark Iron Dwarf. The 2-for-1 of the Draggling Mechanic. We've not had a Earthen Ring Farseer so far. It's just a solid 3/3, but then with a 3 health restore as well. So you will see that in a few constructed decks where you hit away with a hero and a weapon, and then you recover that bit of help with the Farseer. And then the solid mid-game buffing tanky ability of the Dark Iron Dwarf. A vote comes in for the Farseer, another comes in for the Dwarf. Mixed opinions as to what we are going for. Some fair points. No more. We do have quite a lot of 3 mana, that's true, but remember that just because it's 3 mana, it doesn't necessarily mean that you play at turn 3. You may well throw it down in the later game like a Miracle Rogue to get some of your health back. Mechanic. We've got a Mechanic camp, we've got a Dwarf camp, and we've got a Farseer camp. Yep, the Dwarfs go for it. The Dwarf is in there. Next, unleash the Hounds. we have River Croc, and the Skillwind Yeti. So the Yeti, if you are a new Hearthstone player, just throw a couple of those in your deck and play, because it's awesome. But 4/4/5, basically good mana to health to attack ratio, very, very good. Many Doge, alright. The Croc is another solid hunter early game minion with the beast ability, but Unleash the Hounds, Doge is in there. So why everyone is going crazy over Unleash the Hounds, that combos with so many things. The more minions your opponent have, the more hounds we get. We can then buff those hounds who are beasts up with so many different cards. And if we play it after a Starving Buzzard, we just draw a lot of cards as well. Who Let the Dogs Out? I can't even remember the group who sang that song. But yeah, that is certainly the Who Let the Dogs Out card. Razorfen Hunter, Raid Leader or Fairy Dragon. We're almost there, folks. Let's crack on through and then get our game in. I really think we must play this deck on stream later in the week. We always say that, but it's looking really, really strong. So Razorfen Hunter, Atifa. The Raid Leader buffs all of our other minions with one attack, a global buff, makes everything oh so strong. And then the Fairy Dragon, which is a really solid early game drop and just will trade, and because it can't be picked off with spells or hero powers, it is dangerous. We have 2 dragons and 2 Razorfens. We need some kind of deciding vote. Boris a beast over. Oh, okay, Razorfen, it's been tipped in. Ooh, Razorfen or Razorfen. Go for leader, actually. Oh, it's all switching all over the place, but the majority vote is with Razorfen. And there's a good point that the boar is also a beast, so if we play that at the right time, it will trigger various things too. We have the Spellbreaker, Acidic Swamp Ooze, and the Timberwolf. Spellbreaker we have not had so far. It drops a very, very handy silence, and then 4/3 will do some damage. We've already had Timberwolf, so we've got 2 of those already. And then finally our Lord and King. He came in our priest deck and did us great things. Great things. Heart says ooze, says silence. Are you going with your hearts or your heads? You guys choose. What's it going to be? Listen to your heart. I'm loyal to the ooze. I know the feels. Rajanorg in the chat. I'm loving your style. He's just saying Spellbreaker makes sense. I believe we have 2 ooze and 2 Spellbreaker at this point in time. There are a couple of Spellbreaker votes, and I think it's on the fence with Zano. If you go for ooze, it's ooze. If you go for Spellbreaker, it's Spellbreaker. As far as I can see. In fact, it's 2-1 to the Spellbreaker at this moment. So Zano, you are the casting vote. Decide. You must choose. At the moment, it's going to be a Spellbreaker. I need to keep it going. I'm taking that Zano saying loyal to the ooze means ooze. He wants some ooze. Okay. Please don't go to the ooze. We choose ooze. Okay. Well, hey, you know what? Fine. Even if I'm the casting vote, let's make it an ooze. And our last card. Ah, very, very nice. It's almost the same draft as we had earlier, but with the exception of a pint-sized summoner. We had a high main. We have Flare and we have pint-sized summoner. So the pint-sized summoner, it could help us swarm a little bit more in the early game. It's better with lots more really cheap minions, of which we don't have loads. So a solid option. Flare just draws. We don't. Okay, destroying secrets is a situation in arena, but the card draw for 1 mana is good. Getting stealth is always good. And then last but not least, our Simba, if you think he's good, or Scar if you think he's bad. But the Savannah High main is too dangerous. Oh so nasty. 2 of those in the late game could really give someone a really bad day. And High main it is. So we are through. Right. Quick deck review before we go into the second part of Arena Tuesday and just play a game and see how your deck works. So let's have a look. Right, we've got a huge early game mana curve, no surprise we're trying to rush, but we've got good late game backup. As we look through, we did not really increase the amount of spells we had, I think, from last time, but anything. So we've only got 4 spells and then 26 minions. What do? We throw down minions and rush in the early game. We can save our beasts to be triggered by the Starving Buzzard. We just want to keep throwing down minions and mulligan in the early game for lots of early game control. We've got removal. We've got some good counters against any aggro. If we've got aggro against us, we can also break it up with the Senjin, and then if we need to pressure in the mid game, we have cards to do so with the Silverhand Knight and Simba himself. So step 2 probably helps. Let us go in. What we're going to do with this deck, we are going to have loads and loads and loads of minions in the early game. So what we want to do is probably balance hitting to the face of the hero with keeping nasty enemy minions under control. Because when we get into that mid-game situation, we should have loads of minions on the table. And if in doubt, we can accelerate some card draw. And we can also then start dropping Savannah High mains. So we are not going to be throwing down beasts necessarily straight up. 2 Ooze in the first hand. I would have to be a cruel and horrible person to... Do you know what? I'm going to mulligan 1. And the only reason I'm doing that is just so we can have an Ooze for the late game should we need it. And we get 9 BCal, so we've got enough things to drop. Nothing turn 1 sadly, but we've got options turn 2. And then we grab our buzzard. So in terms of our strategy and what we think we're going to do, remember that we want to throw down the buzzard. Ideally, if our opponent has loads of stuff on the table. So you know what, I actually feel pretty comfy just going straight up with a silence. Let's remove that damage and then he can go for the trade if he likes. But remember, we want to keep our opponent's minions under control and then try and rush with as many small beer as possible. Of course, we're going to get pinged off for that, but I didn't want to throw away the hyena because I feel we can get more mileage out of it. Okay, if it gets too nasty, we can hounds and buzzard, so we'll keep those two as a combination. For the time being, let's throw down Ooze. Now, late game Ooze, absolutely. Keep this mid. Yeah, mage ping, that's true. So we're now saying, look, if you want to throw spells, throw spells. Oh, an arcane missiles. Is he going to get lucky? He is not. I'm quite happy to take those 3 to the face because it means he then has to trade away. He can still ping if he likes. We're taking some nasty early game damage here, but now we can have the tempo with us. So what would we like to do? I could summon a beast, draw a card, but remember the buzzard will get removed with the ping. If I throw down buzzard and hyena, that will give me a decent bit of tempo. But I'm going to throw down actually, okay, buzzard and hyena, there's a reason for that in drawing a card. I'm going to hang on in and see if I can get a better condition. Ideally, I don't of course want him to have lots of, or her to have lots of minions on the table to get the best of that. And there goes the skill wind. That's going to be nasty to try and remove, but we can do it. Now, here is an Usu lovely combo. I could buzzard into hounds and hunters, and then that will let us remove with a another threat. And he'll remove the buzzard afterwards. Okay, I don't need to draw the card. I can drop the Scourging Hyena. I can then unleash the hounds. Now, this is not getting the most of it, of course. But that one beast, the reason that I'm comboing these 2 up is that I can then use that hunter to remove the death, will let me suddenly buff up that hyena, and then I can still swing for 4 with another big threat on the table. So that is our Unleash the Doge gone, but saving it for a situation where loads of minions on the table, although that's okay and constructed, I don't feel quite comfortable with that in Arena. I'd probably rather try and take any tempo a bit earlier. And ooh, down goes the Gadgetzan Auctioneer. He can throw down a coin, a nice use of that, so he's Miracle Maging it, miracling it up. Oh, and Mirror Image as well will then let him draw a card and summon 2 minions with Taunt. So that's a very nice combo. Note how for the cost of 5 with his coin, he has then managed to draw another 2 cards and set up. Ooze has perished, but the Ooze has perished so that we might live. Oh, we're almost in mind control tech position. So I want to get rid of that auctioneer. Can I do it this turn? I don't think I can. Very, very sad. If there's one more minion, we could throw down mind control tech. I am not, with the cards I have on offer, going to be able to remove all of those. So what I'm just going to do is, but there's no point buzzarding. I'm going to throw down the mind control tech as an extra body. I'm going to do 2 damage and then just remove those tanks. Now, frustratingly, this is annoying because card advantage is always good in any card game, and he has his auctioneer on the table for another turn, so that's 6 mana. If he's throwing out any other spells, he's going to be just drawing more and more cards. So our opponent mage here has really managed to ramp up, and he's putting us under some good pressure. You can see how that Gadgetzan Auctioneer combo, coin, let him draw a card. The taunt slowed me up, so he's actually put a very nice combo together there. The Frostbolt draws a card, removes my minion, so nice play there. So many threats in the mage deck. And then Fireball, that's going to remove my other big minion again. Another big threat. Oh, the pain. And there we go, and finally he can just swing in and do damage to my face. And for another turn, the longer that stays on the table, the more trouble I am in. So I cannot draw with that card. There's no point doing damage to the face. In an attempt to take tempo, I think it's probably good that I throw down the Savannah Highmane. Now, because I'm not going to kill him in one shot, I'm just going to hit him to the face. A very, very delicate moment. Yep, you're calling Flame Strike at 7. I'm hoping that doesn't arrive, but you do see Flame Strike turn up unwillingly in a lot of people's decks. So let's see how we go. What is the play going to be? I'm hoping that we can get back into this. The Mana Worm goes down. Whenever you cast a spell, I just know he's going to throw down more spells and draw more cards. He is getting really good deck cycle. This Gadgets and Auctioneer has now been down 3 turns. I let him draw cards every single time. And there goes the Cone of Cold. Nicely, he freezes us up. He's got us under lockdown. Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. I'm liking the sing-along Simba. Fire Blast, he's just going to try and remove another minion. And then another hit to the face, so he's keeping the swing going. I'm going to be in a position where, I'm frozen, there's nothing I can do. I can't summon any beasts, and this is where an Unleash the Hounds would have been quite useful. Mind Control Tech, if I'd left cards on the table, I could have waited for that swing tempo. So what can I do? I can throw things down, but he'll probably just ping the buzzard. The Shatterton Cleric will help me keep a minion on the table for another turn. The Stormwind Champion gives him another big threat if he cannot kill me in one go. And he could well be within execute range with the mana he has, then I can swing out and look to put an execute down. So I'm going to go for Stormwind Champion. That gives me a big global. So what is he going to do? He can see that I've got a very tidy 17 damage on the table at this point in time. I only need 4 more for a lethal. I could add an extra 1 the next turn. And remember, of course, that I've got my ability, Steady Shot, so I can throw in another 2. So you always want to be doing the maths in your head. Do I have lethal? I have 17, 19, 20, and 1 damage off a lethal. Very frustrating. There goes the Mad Bomber. He's bombed himself, loving it. That brings his Gadgets and Auctioneer within my kill range. Blizzard, he's frozen me again. And of course he can swing to my face. So if he has a Pyroblast or something, I'm just getting so close to lethal range. There goes another swing to the face, 2 swings to the face. I just don't have the removal for these guys, which is oh so frustrating. Okay, I still can't remove. And this lack of removal, he actually has lethal on me next turn. So annoyingly, guys, that is actually game now. I do not think there's anything I can do. Buzzard and Cleric, he would have still frozen me last turn. So his freezes have really just locked me down here. The Blizzard's the Cone of Colds. You can see how Mage is oh so strong in Arena. Now this is not... I'll look back through this and see where we could have played this a bit better. But what can we do? Well, okay, I don't think there's any way we can deny him. We've just not been able to trade away that Gadgets and Auctioneer. So we've not had the deadly shots and similar things come out. So there's a bit of a misfortune in our draw. The one play I could have made was leave his tanks on the table and then throw down the Mind Control Tech and see if we could grab the Auctioneer. But that would have been a 1 in 4 chance. Giving a minion 1/1, that is not going to help us too well. I cannot get myself out of that freeze. The other thing that we could have potentially done is saved our owl. Now, saving the owl would have meant if we'd silenced one of these, it would have removed the freeze. You can silence your own minion to remove the freeze, and of course we've not seen the Spellbreaker that we drafted either. So, just for funs, let's throw down some minions. But we know that really 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 we will concede and say good game to you. So really unlucky guys there. We have a really, really solid deck, but our challenge there was we just got out controlled and we didn't draw our control cards. The Gadgets and Auctioneer there, the miracle that he managed to pull off, and his freezing actually cost us that game. So the Ooze abandoned us in our time of need. Calls out Zano. But to be fair, I think one misplay, we could have perhaps saved that Iron Beak Owl. Now, we obviously didn't know what was coming, but next time, if I played a mage and I suspected freezes, I would save a silence, because that silence would have let us attack, remove the Auctioneer, and then we would have had a better option. So in terms of a misplay, what we could do better, that's one thing that I can potentially think of that would perhaps help out in a future game. So that has been substantially more than a half hour, as I'm reminded very, very frequently, Trade Descriptions Act. That was another Hearthstone half hour, but we know that this episode goes on a bit longer than usual, so thank you oh so much for tuning in. That was good fun. So we picked Hunter, we drafted it up, had a look at what kind of stuff. We went for an aggro early game deck, and you guys picked a really, really solid deck. So later in the week, if we stream, I will certainly let you know how this one plays out, but I think we need to get on stream and play this one again as well. So maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, I will tweet, let you know on @FailCraft Casts when we finish this off, because I think that this could go a long way. Even though we managed to lose that game, we were quite unlucky. And let's not forget that Mage deck was very well drafted. It was a really, really good game. And Germany, for you Germans, have scored as well in the football. So thanks so much for tuning in. That was the Hearthstone half hour. Where can you find us? Quick sign off. Those of you who know the score, you don't need this, you know what's going on. But if you are watching this on YouTube or an archive, this was live, of course, all of the interactive elements, twitch.tv/FailCraftCast. We try and stream live Monday through Friday night. That generally tends to be around 7 or 8 PM UK time, but we'll always tweet on the stream when we are going to try and go live. That time can vary slightly, so keep an eye on Twitter @FailCraftCasts. Have a chat with us if we're not streaming. We'll have to chat games too. If you're watching this live, don't forget youtube.com/FailCraftCasts. All of our archive is there. We are in the Heroes of the Storm Technical Alpha, and we have been streaming that and archiving it as well. We also do StarCraft, and we're looking to a bunch of other games too. Minecraft, anything you guys might fancy seeing, we would love to try and cover for you. So whether it be that us teaming up with other people, had a bunch of volunteers come forward today. I'd love to do some stuff and get involved in content. That's brilliant. We just love making cool content for you. That's what FailCraft is all about. And last but not least, the website is failcraft.org. You can find news, links. Some guys have shouted they might want to do written articles and other things as well. That's great. And then, last but not least, we do have some things there like new player guides, other kind of things that do not live so well in video form. So that is us for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're live in the chat, we'll drop in and have a little quick chat with you now. If you're on YouTube or seeing this anywhere else, please do join us live for a stream. But if not, look at our other content. And above all, if you like it, if you can share it with people, thank you so much. It makes me overjoyed. We don't do this for money. It's all for love. So we love other people enjoying it too. So if you enjoy it and can share it, or if you can comment on any of those things we just mentioned, let us know what you'd like to see more of, new games you'd like to see, other content. Helps us make better stuff for you. And if you didn't like it, as always, if you can just take your time to comment, I'm not expecting you to share it, but if you let us know what we can improve, again, that just helps us too. So thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow night is Ladder Wednesday in the world of Hearthstone. We'll be jumping on the ladder with the decks that we're choosing and taking a look at not only the meta game, what's going on the ladder, but also our deck as well, doing a bit more in-depth analysis of what we're playing. Thanks for